I gazed at the text message on my phone, reading it for the 10th time as my world disintegrated around me. Sorry babe, can't make it. Emergency meeting with clients regarding supper today. The message was not the issue. The Instagram snapshot shared 2 minutes ago depicted Miles at a rooftop bar, his arm encircling a blonde woman. It was certainly not me. My name is Tabitha, and I established my online business from the ground up while organizing my wedding. A man who seemingly could not be troubled to fabricate a plausible falsehood. The irony was not lost on me that I dedicated 3 years to expanding my firm into a 7-figure enterprise, while he concentrated on cultivating his list of affairs. I seized my keys and drove to his flat, my hands trembling on the steering wheel. The doorman was familiar with me. I used the key that Miles had given me during our passionate conversation about our future. We entered together, and I said, "Honey, I'm home," with my voice. The sarcastic tone and the chaotic noises emanating from the bedroom conveyed all the information I required. Miles appeared shirtless and agitated, exclaiming to Tabitha, "What are you doing?" I believed you were in a client meeting. Nonetheless, I found you at the office, which I found amusing. My phone is seeing the Instagram post unless your clients favor rooftop bars. Clad in a short black dress, the blonde emerged behind him, grasping her dress to her chest. You claimed you were single, she remarked. He is not, I stated, removing my engagement ring from my finger, but I am about to rectify that for him. The ring ricocheted off the chest fell to the floor as my mother-in-law approached me, pleading, "It's not." What are your thoughts? Allow me to clarify, reserve it for those who continue to accept your deceptions. I attempted to depart, but he seized my arm, asserting, "You are being dramatic, we can resolve this." I forcefully withdrew my arm, retorting, "Do not touch me. We have concluded." My phone incessantly buzzed during the way home with calls and texts from Miles. I disregarded messages from my mother and my brother Adrian until I arrived at my driveway. The entire family was seemingly resolved to conduct an intervention for Tabitha. "What actions have you taken?" My mother hurried forward as I exited the car, as Miles hailed us in tears. Indeed, he did. I attempted to go by her, but my father obstructed my path. "Princess, you are being hasty," he remarked. He has his issues. Miles is a commendable individual. I grinned cynically as I apprehended him. My sister-in-law Elizabeth discovered my father's infidelity in his apartment today. Males are prone to errors. Interjected that one indiscretion should not lead to the termination of a partnership, and I regarded them all. My mother wringing her hands, my father's disapproving look, Adrienne's judgmental gaze, and Elizabeth's self-satisfied demeanor. Individuals were expected to support me. Hune has been deceiving me for months, possibly even longer, and you are all complicit. Standing here in his defense, Adrian stated that he is a member of this family and has been for some time. He has invested much in his father's firm. Therein is the true motivation. They were all present. The focus was not on my happiness but rather on financial matters. A prosperous enterprise had enhanced my family's lifestyle for years, and Miles had ingratiated himself with my father. I am astonished that my own family prioritizes this over me, instead of focusing on the fact that my fiancé was unfaithful. You are simply demonstrating immaturity. The mother exclaimed that this is precisely why Miles likely felt compelled to act. Do not even consider it. Complete the sentence. My voice was frigid. Do not attribute his actions to me. Choices, Tabitha. My father's voice adopted the condescending tone I had come to recognize. Disdain. Only rest on it, and tomorrow you will perceive matters with greater clarity. I comprehend the situation. I obviously observed them as I walked past my front door. Identify your identities and the significance I hold for you. Refrain from exaggeration. Elizabeth contacted thereafter. This is the reason you struggle to maintain a relationship. You exhibit excessive emotionality and an overemphasis on your feelings. Small online store. Instead of I forcefully closed the door, interrupting her speech. I observed them congregate at the window, perhaps scheming their next endeavor to coerce me into compliance. I stood there. Something moved within me. The pain persisted, yet now it was solidifying into determination. They perceived my enterprise as only a modest web store. They believed I required their approval. Quite well, let them maintain that perception. I proceeded to my home office and powered on my laptop. It was time to initiate some calls, beginning with my business broker. To possess him. They wanted him so much, but they were about to realize what they were losing. Your business broker, Kate, nearly choked on her coffee during the Zoom conversation regarding your company, Tabitha. Projected to treble its revenue next year. Why would I require a fresh start? I stated that I require the numbers to scroll across my screen silently. How quickly can you execute this task, given these financials? Perhaps a week or two. Nevertheless, are you certain about this text? Miles illuminated my phone. Your mother is quite concerned. Cease your obstinacy and return home without hesitation. Responded by concluding the correspondence without providing a reply. And Kate, I request that you prioritize female purchasers for the next 2 weeks, which have been consumed with negotiations and paperwork. Disregarded calls as I organized my life into boxes while fielding progressively. My relatives made aggressive attempts to resolve matters, unaware that I had already signed the selling forms or secured a rental agreement. An apartment in Boston. You cannot evade us indefinitely. Adrian confronted me outside my residence one morning. My mother is scarcely sleeping. My father's blood pressure is exceedingly high. It is ironic how no one seems to be worried for my welfare when Miles was being unfaithful. I made an error, and regarding father's business, he was relying on your engagement to finalize that merger. I chuckled cruelly at the realization of my relationship's significance to Miles's firm. All of you, this is a business transaction. Do not be foolish. Everything, even the smallest details, has a connection. Web store, my small business that financed your wife's vehicle, that supported mother's renovations, that sustained my father during COVID, caused me to shake my head in disbelief. Indeed, all elements intertwine, and now is the time to break those connections. The moving company has arrived the following day. I had meticulously coordinated the timing so that everyone would be at work or engaged in errands as the final box was loaded. Elizabeth's car screeched into my driveway. What are you doing? She exclaimed, jumping out with her phone already recording. Tabitha, stop this absurdity currently, or what you will publish online to demonstrate to everyone how I am unstable. I have signed the final paperwork with the movers to proceed. It will undoubtedly attract a lot of attention, and it will have a profound impact on your mother. Is that your intention? What I sought was support when my fiancé betrayed me. What I desired was a family who valued me more than their social standing. I presented her with an envelope. Deliver this to them when they return home. It is a farewell letter, and do not engage further, attempting to ascertain my destination. By the time you peruse this, I will have departed. The journey to Boston spanned 8 hours of emancipation. With every mile marker, the weight on my shoulders lessened as my phone continued to vibrate. I ultimately stopped at a rest area to receive the messages from my mother regarding the sale. Your business's failure to inform us about our monthly arrangements is unacceptable, irresponsible. Call me immediately, Adrian. You are fracturing this family, Miles. You are causing significant turmoil. There was an error. Let us discuss this. I powered down my phone and proceeded to obtain coffee. The barista smiled while presenting my drink. I reciprocated her grin despite having a challenging day. Today marks the most exceptional day I have experienced in years. My new apartment, though smaller than my previous residence, offers a stunning perspective of the Boston skyline. I compensated by unpacking only the essentials and leaving the remainder in cartons. The selling of my firm provided sufficient capital to invest in other women who, like me, have aspirations that go beyond conventional limits. Containers that others attempted to confine them within. That evening I occupied my vacant balcony with a glass of wine, and then I activated my phone, revealing hundreds of messages. A multitude of missed calls, one from Elizabeth, captured my attention. Do you believe you are so astute? Fleeing is futile. Your beloved family requires your presence, yet you forsake them. Miles is assisting you. Father restructured his firm, a task you evidently could not be troubled to undertake. You will lament this decision in the future. You are solitary, with just your pride for warmth. I captured a snapshot of my bank balance, reflecting the earnings from my eye. Responded to the firm's sale and thereafter banned her number. I systematically severed the connections that had tethered me to a life, one by one, as others did, that was never truly mine. Tomorrow, I have appointments with 3 female founders. Individuals requiring investment in mentorship, possessed fervor in their eyes and aspirations in their hearts, akin to myself. Previously, my family attempted to stifle ambitions. Let Elizabeth concern herself with warming fires, while I had other passions to pursue. Too light, indicating that you sold a 7-figure and relocated cities. Different city. Caden reclined in her chair, scrutinizing me over her coffee cup, seemingly to provoke me. Sleek workplace with a view of Boston Harbor, the morning sun reflecting off the eye. Corrected myself not to spite them but to liberate myself. There is a distinction. Tapped her fingers on her desk. And now you wish to invest in women-led enterprises despite lacking investment experience. I understand the requirements of establishing and investing in a firm from its inception. It presents a unique challenge. Tabitha Caden got up and approached her whiteboard, expressing, I appreciate your enthusiasm. Allow me to. She presented investing techniques and risk assessments for the following hour. I took notes urgently regarding the assessment and the significance of due diligence. I inquired why you are assisting me, struggling to maintain pace with her swift proficiency. When she eventually paused, we realized we had connected through LinkedIn, as I was in her position 6 years ago. Excluding the theatrical escape, she grinned, now desiring to witness genuine potential. I meet with a founder in an hour. Accompany me. Simone is the founder, it turns out. An exceptional woman with an innovative technology platform for healthcare accessibility. Her presentation was impeccable, yet it was the fervor in her gaze that captivated me. The major investors failed to comprehend this. Simone elucidated the necessity of diluting her prototype, enhance its marketability. Although that undermines the fundamental objective. Provide me with the data. She acknowledged the frustration in her voice while guiding us through her financials. When my phone rang with a blocked call, the voicemail notice caused a tightening sensation in my stomach. Tabitha, it is father. Matters are not favorable. We must converse. I removed it without consideration. While Simone continued to speak, Caden directed his attention towards me. She inquired if everything was all right after Simone departed, mentioning familial matters that were inconsequential. It does not appear that she is engaged in anything significant at her desk. While I am not inclined towards intimate discussions, success necessitates certain actions. You must maintain attention and clarity. I am concentrated. Simone, the initiative aligns perfectly with my investment interests. She possesses excellent insights. Caden paused, indicating that you must confront the issues brewing at home, else they would inevitably follow you. Later that evening, I sat in my new apartment, gazing at my phone for 3 further moments. I received missed calls from my father and 2 from Adrian. Ultimately, I selected the most recent call. Recent voicemail. Sister, you must contact Dad. The merger has collapsed as Miles has withdrawn. Since your departure, Dad's company has been experiencing significant difficulties. Please call. I poured myself a glass of wine and approached my window overlooking Boston. Lights shimmered, presenting a constellation of possibilities. My phone vibrated once more. Caden has received the final documentation for your investor certification. And Simone is inquiring about it as well. I promptly responded, absolutely, and expressed gratitude to Caden for another encounter. Do not express gratitude prematurely. Wait till you incur your initial loss of $100,000 on a poor wager. I found this humorous, but my amusement was abruptly interrupted. Another call from Elizabeth prompted my angry response. You are alive, she scoffed. It must be pleasant to thrive in Boston while your family. What do you desire, Elizabeth? Your father's company is disintegrating. Adrienne's employment is at risk, yet you remain indifferent, preoccupied with other matters, assuming the role of a big-shot investor with your ill-gotten gains. By ill-gotten gains, do you refer to the profits I acquired from establishing my own enterprise, the entity you trivialized as a mere internet business? You are aware of your true worth. Isolated when this situation escalates, I terminated the call, obstructing yet another. My palms trembled as I opened my laptop and saw the financials of my father's publicly traded company. The record, after what I had seen, caused me to wince. Elizabeth was not deceptive regarding the figures. My phone illuminated with a message from Simone. I have revised some projections in response to your inquiries. I reviewed the message regarding coffee tomorrow, then examined my father's company's financial figures. The difference was stark. One represented my past with all its commitments, guilt for my future, which was replete with possibility and significance. Prompted my response. Simone, coffee appears ideal. I have several concepts I wish to deliberate with. Allow them to contemplate. I was fleeing. For the first time in my life, I was in flight. I in pursuit of an endeavor that is wholly my own. I am allocating $500,000 towards it. I informed Simone about your startup during our conversation at the coffee shop, and her eyes widened in surprise. A coffee cup, frozen midway to her mouth, prompted her to set it down in disbelief. With trembling hands, you indicated that you required additional time. However, I have observed sufficient evidence. Your prototype functions effectively, your market research is robust, and frankly, I am fatigued. Observing exceptional women being disregarded by conventional investors while we negotiated deals. On my phone illuminated by an incoming call from Adrian. I rejected it. However, he promptly called again. Simone gently advised that one should address familial issues, as they tend to worsen if neglected. I took a step back. Outside, I braced myself. "What is it?" Adrian asked, his voice cracking. "Dad's in the hospital. A mild stress-induced heart attack has occurred. Nevertheless, he is requesting your presence as the world has shifted. He is currently acceptable, but the company is declining, and we will be laying off employees this week," recalled Tommy from accounting, who has been with the firm for 20 years and has 3 children in college. He will be the first to depart. The guilt inflicted struck precisely as he intended. "That is not my responsibility, Adrian." Miles withdrew his investment the day following your departure, stating he could not trust a family that has resulted in an individual exhibiting extreme selfishness. Now the bank is demanding loan repayments and ceasing further transactions. I pushed my fingers to my skull. "You cannot hold me accountable for Miles's actions. You seem to have disregarded the consequences of your sudden departure when making decisions." I observed Simone through the window as she examined the investment documents. Her eyes filled with hope. "I must leave. Indeed, you flee. It is your forte." Meanwhile, Simone observed from within. "I am concerned. Everything is all right, but my father is in the hospital." I sat down forcefully, experiencing a little heart attack. "Oh God, I apologize. We can postpone this. Now is the time." I have retrieved my pen. "Let us conclude this promptly. I have faith in you and your abilities. The project remains unchanged due to familial discord, since we have executed the necessary documentation." As Simone embraced me in farewell, my phone vibrated with a message from my mother. "Your father inquired about you today at the hospital. Recall when you were young and scraped your knee. He carried you the entire way. He requires your presence on the way home. Where are you?" I have ended the communication. Trembling, another message arrived, this time from Elizabeth. "I hope you take pride in it. Your father's company is terminating 30 employees next week, affecting their families, children and mortgages, all due to an inability to manage a minor relational issue. As an adult, I was on the verge of blocking her when Caden called, saying, "Hey, I heard you were nearby. Simone wishes to celebrate the deal, but I cannot due to family obligations. An emergency." Her voice softened as the past caught up with my father in the hospital. A heart attack, and I am allegedly accountable for the destruction of his firm and the ruin of 30 individuals' lives. Intriguing. Caden paused during math. "He seeks advice. Please consult him, confront them all, articulate your thoughts, and then depart, otherwise, they would continue to occupy your thoughts." I examined my calendar. Simone's investment was prioritized. My other appointments could be deferred. "You are correct," I reflected deeply. "Take a breath. I will arrange a flight. Additionally, Tabitha, recall that you are not excessively fearful. You are no longer a child. You are now an investment." I arranged a flight for the following morning and subsequently contacted my brother. "I am arriving tomorrow," as I stated in my response. "However, to clarify, my purpose is to visit Dad, not to address the company's issues." "Of course not," he scoffed. "Why would you assist the family that nurtured you, that raised me? You refer to the family that esteemed me so insignificantly that they aligned with my unfaithful fiancé, the family he created." I made an error and chose to value myself. I addressed it by hanging up and opening up. My laptop displayed my father's corporate financials once more, revealing even more dismal figures than previously. A part of me desired to intervene to rectify all issues and fulfill the expectations of the ideal daughter. Yet, as I observed the investment arrangement with Simone reminded me of my departure. They not only aligned with Miles but also attempted to diminish my stature. To meet their expectations, and if I stored them now, my phone would remain unchanged. Received a final notification from Simone informing my team of the funding. "They are shedding tears of joy. You have transformed lives today. Tabitha. Thank you for your belief." I grinned, captured a screenshot of the message, and reserved my hotel for tomorrow. I will confront my situation. This evening, I will commemorate the positive transformation of life, not out of obligation. However, following choice 3 months subsequent to my brief and unpleasant hospital visit with my father, I sat in Caden's office examining Simone's most recent progress report. The figures were remarkably, she has surpassed estimates by 40%, prompting Caden to whistle in astonishment. Investments appeared promising. The healthcare sector was poised for disruption, I remarked while browsing. Data and Simone are indeed exceptional. but let us discuss your other accomplishments. Caden reviewed a spreadsheet detailing 3 further successful investments in women-led enterprises. Your insights are commendable, young one. My phone buzzed with another email from Adrian. I had been receiving them weekly since my father's hospitalization that I deleted the guilt-laden communication without perusal. Caden leaned closer, mentioning that there is an investor conference downtown tonight where Simone would be talking. The conference hall was filled with Boston's technology elite, and Simone was in charge. I stood boldly on stage, exhibiting my company's incredible progress. A familiar voice abruptly halted the pride building in my chest, rendering me immobile. Tabitha, I turned slowly. Mill was there in an opulent suit, appearing precisely as on the day I discovered his infidelity. I inquired about his activities in Boston, maintaining a composed tone despite my racing heart. While consulting, he surveyed the surroundings before approaching. I have been attempting, due to our shared concern for your well-being, my family is contacting you. He lowered his voice, stating that your father's company is barely surviving, and Adrienne is observing. Even your mother had to terminate her country club membership for business. I nearly laughed at the latter. Part of your resources could assist you, since I have heard about your capabilities. Investment cease. I raised my hand. Is it the reason for your presence, to persuade me, assist them? I am present for work, although upon seeing you, he grasped my arm. Your actions are commendable, although Tabitha. Simone's voice interrupted. Amidst the stress, she hurried over with a tablet in hand, stating that the Singaporean investors wished to meet. Oh, apologies, am I interrupting? I completely distanced myself from Miles. Simone, my former fiancé, as he departed. Miles adjusted his tie. I would be interested in more about your organization. There may be a possibility for collaboration between my firm and yours. I laughed derisively at the notion of collaborating with the same firm that withdrew. My father's company faltered, and Simone's eyes expanded in response. Recognition. Oh, you are Miles. Apologies, but we are not interested in transient support. Investors. Tabitha, the Singapore team is awaiting our departure. I overheard Miles articulate your familial requirements. To what extent do you want to impose sanctions? I have reverted. I am not penalizing anyone, investing in others who possess self-belief equivalent to my own, a sentiment my family never shared. During a nocturnal gathering with celebratory beverages alongside Simone and her colleagues, my phone illuminated with a message from Elizabeth. I encountered Miles today. He recounted your minor success narrative. It is commendable to engage in investment activities while your family has difficulties, such as your mother selling her jewels. Presented the letter to Simone, who scoffed. They certainly know how to exaggerate, don't they? They equate wealth with. I sighed in love. That is why they cannot comprehend my reluctance to assist, yet you are assisting Simone, she indicated to her team, who were commemorating their successful presentation, but not to them, but to my phone. Caden buzzed again, this time hearing Miles arrive. Are you all right? I surveyed the surroundings. I invested in amazing women at Simone, whose company was transforming lives for the future. Constructing an environment devoid of manipulation and guilt has never been more optimal. I responded positively. Anticipate tomorrow's tech news. Simone's company has been valued at 3 times our initial investment. You are no longer only surviving, you are flourishing. I raised my glass to Simone. She reiterated the importance of trusting in ourselves and then, with a smile, demonstrated that their misconceptions were erroneous. It seemed as though another message arrived in response. My mother-in-law informs me that you are doing well. Why do you not assist your family? What did we do to merit this? I blocked her number, then lifted my glass once more, selecting our own family. The women surrounding me applauded, unaware of the profound significance of that toast. Yet, as I observed, I recognized something important while witnessing them celebrate their accomplishment, which I had contributed to making possible. My family had always seen my independence as a form of punishment. They would never comprehend that it was, in fact, liberation not only for myself but my assistant cautioned me. As I entered, he is waiting in your office for every woman I could assist in uplifting along the way. Upon exiting the elevator, I informed him that you were occupied with meetings throughout the day, but he insisted on waiting. I did not need to inquire who he was. I observed Miles seated in one of my guest chairs, scrolling through his phone. Through the glass walls 2 weeks ago, following our conference interaction, he was disinvited and deemed unwanted. How long has he been present? 3. How many hours should I wait before contacting security? I adjusted my jacket. No, I will manage it myself. As I entered, Miles stood there, his familiar cologne striking me forcefully. Memories. Ultimately, your helper is highly protective and proficient in her role. I sat behind my desk. I did not offer him a seat. Why are you here? You are ubiquitous. He displayed his phone, presenting an article regarding Simone's company. A rising star investor and advocate for women entrepreneurs has garnered a notable reputation. He sat down uninvited, questioning the reason for your presence as your father's company filed. Adrian declared bankruptcy yesterday, as reported in the news, resulting in the loss of his residence. Elizabeth and he relocated to be with your parents. Your mother is disorganized. He inclined forward, anticipating a single investment from you. Preserve them all as you did by withdrawing your investment. This was business. Although it is amusingly familial, the lines become indistinct when it suits you. I consulted my calendar. I have a meeting in 10 minutes. Tabitha, please stop being so distant. Do those who love you also love me? I found it amusing that they appreciated my abilities. There is a distinction. We have all erred, including myself. His tone softened as he stated, I have transformed. Upon encountering you at the conference and learning of your achievements, I recognized the opportunity one squandered. I assume you are involved in consulting. The firm is underperforming. He recoiled, deeming it unjust. Is this perception accurate? You only appear when you desire something. I have declined, and the response is no. I will not invest in my father's firm. I will not provide financial assistance to Adrian, and I will certainly not grant you a second chance. Perhaps your mother was correct, he retorted, rising to his feet. You have become hardened and unfeeling. No, I have transformed. Simone entered my office abruptly, pausing at the sight before her. Oh, I apologize, she said. Arriving early for our appointment was ideal. I remarked that Miles was just departing. He cautioned, this is not concluded. Approaching the door, I activated the intercom. Security, please escort Mr. Turner. Exited and updated his status to limit limited access after Simone emitted a low whistle. Wow, you are not just fine, but exceptional. I have resumed my seat. Please reveal the fresh information to me. Prototype. My phone buzzed. Adrian, are you content now that Dad's company is officially operational? 30 years of his life lost. I hope your vengeance was worthwhile. Elizabeth. My mother is inconsolable. Congrats, you have irrevocably fractured our family. I never anticipated this outcome about my father. My own daughter observes her family endure suffering when she possesses the ability to assist. I no longer recognize you, Simone. As you watch me, they do not comprehend the messages, do they? No, they do not. I place my phone. They believe this pertains to vengeance. Isn't that somewhat accurate? I have contemplated it. Initially, it may have been different, but now the focus is on creating something significant. Speaking of which, please demonstrate that we resumed our work with those numbers. But later that evening, alone in my flat, I retrieved an old photograph on my phone. My family at last. Christmas is filled with joy and fashionable apparel financed by my internet shop, prominently featuring his arm around me. Someone was likely messaging his sweetheart discreetly under the table when my phone rang. Caden learned that you had an intriguing visitor today. News disseminates rapidly in our community. At quick speed, I reassessed the snapshot and then removed it. Are you all right? I am aware of my strengths. As I recently received a recommendation on an exceptional woman. I opened my laptop to inquire about a sustainable energy startup that is of interest. More dinner at the new establishment on Newbury is ideal. I checked my phone one final time. I received 3 additional unread messages from my family before I shut off my device to let them be. I believe my perceived aloofness led them to attribute their decisions to me. I have meetings scheduled for tomorrow with women who are constructing the future rather than adhering to a past that was never truly existent previously. I expressed my gratitude to Caden before concluding the call. Do not become complacent now, she chuckled, urging me to conserve that energy for tomorrow's pitch meetings. I gazed forth at the Boston skyline illuminated with potential, suggesting the presence of something beyond. A woman aspired to great ambitions, resisting those who urged her to adopt a more modest mindset. I ceased to remain within my designated boundaries and was merely beginning to expand my horizons. Caden stated that they were all inside as we arrived at my parents' place. Months had elapsed since Miles's office appointment, and now I found myself returning to the same location that it all commenced. Are you certain about this? No, I conceded, gazing at the recognizable facade that I received a group message via email 3 days ago. Mother announced the sale of the family home, my childhood residence. The door opened before I could knock, reducing the situation to a mere real estate listing. My mother stood there, appearing older than I recalled, her fashionable attire substituted by the department shop basics. You arrived, she stated bluntly. I did not anticipate your presence. Let us expedite this. I stepped inside, with Caden closely following. The living room fell silent upon my entrance. Adrian and Elizabeth are seated on the couch, while my father appears feeble in his recliner. To my astonishment, Miles was present. I inquired about his purpose for being there. Come, my father urged. We need to discuss the future of this family. There is nothing to discuss, I replied, remaining standing. I received your email regarding the sale of the house. I came to retrieve my remaining belongings, which are all your possessions, Elizabeth remarked with disdain. What about all that you have taken from us? Our stability, our reputation, and your unearned advantage, Caden? Several heads turned effortlessly, presumably noticing her for the first time. Caden Brewer inquired, Are you my mother? To Tabitha's mentor and friend. Individual who assisted her in transforming her vengeance into a multi-million-dollar investment portfolio. The news articles did not mention the cessation. I raised my hand to indicate my dissent, here to discuss my finances. So why is Adrian present? He stood to gloat and observe us as we packed things. I am present here because, despite all circumstances, this was also my home, was it not? My father's voice faltered because the girl I nurtured would not forsake her family, as the father I cherished would not have done. My fiancé's choice of infidelity over me lingered in the atmosphere like smoke. I did not select my mother objected. We prioritized stability. No, I corrected you, you prioritized my financial contributions, and when I ceased to provide them, it became evident how conditional your affection was. That is unjust. Miles initiated the conversation. You do not have the right to discuss fairness, Caden, you advanced, having deceived her, manipulated her family, and subsequently attempted to return upon learning of her situation. Our suffering is the foundation of our success. Elizabeth achieved hers through her own efforts. Talent. Caden, my father's opponent, countered the talent you all overlooked until it became necessary. We are liquidating all assets, including the house and cars, as we are relocating to a smaller apartment. Your desire was to observe our humility, while my desire was for my family to unite, appreciate me for my intrinsic qualities rather than my potential contributions. I inhaled deeply, yet I am not here for that. I retrieved an envelope and set it on the coffee table. What is this? Adrian sought a reality check, which contains a comprehensive record of every detail. I sent this family a sum of money throughout the years, along with papers detailing its expenditure. I observed their expressions turn ashen. A forensic accountant examines all aspects of your investigation into U.S. My mother's voice trembled. I required comprehension, and now I possess it. I withdrew. You never perceived me as successful. You regarded me merely as a source of financial support. Even today, you express no remorse. Your remorse stems from losing access to my finances, which is not accurate in how you treated me. My father weakly protested. I nodded to Miles and inquired, then why is he present? It is likely that the silence signifies a lack of moral support. I have reached a conclusion. I stated softly, maintain possession of the house. Sell it if you must, but this is the final occasion you will encounter me. I have created something exquisite in your absence, and I am not allowing you to dismantle it. Tabitha. Please, my mother advanced. We can repair it. No, Mom. We cannot proceed since you still do not comprehend what requires rectification. I attempted to depart, but Adrian obstructed my way, stating that I was prioritizing strangers over family. I am making a choice. I had finally moved on from him. Goodbye. The summer air outside felt clean and refreshing. Caden grasped my shoulder. Are you all right? I said affirmatively as I glanced back at the home. They required the truth one final time, not for themselves, but for me regarding my phone. Simone convened an emergency meeting due to significant news. Caden smiled, indicating that life continues, even yours. It is progressing exceptionally well. We entered the vehicle, departing from the house, leaving behind the memories and the relatives that could not accompany us. Love me unconditionally. Ahead lies Boston, my selected family, and a future I desire, built on my own values. It stopped being retaliation. Instead, it became freedom. which I now have the honor to share. At our Entrepreneur of the Year award ceremony, I adjusted the microphone while surveying the large ballroom for an individual who demonstrated exceptional merit, determination and vision may transform the world. Simone Stone, please ascend the stage. The applause was overwhelming. Simone approached the stage, where a screen exhibited the effects of her work, healthcare platform, millions served, lives saved, barriers dismantled. Before accepting the honor, Simone stated that she must express gratitude to the individual who believed in her when no one else did. Tabitha invested not just capital but also faith, resulting in greater applause from the audience. Caden signaled approval with a thumbs up, while 5 other ladies, whose enterprises I had assisted in establishing, sat next to her, forming my new familial network. Dreams and trust, rather than obligation and guilt. My phone vibrated with a news alert. The sale and repurposing of my father's former company building into a startup incubator made me smile. Following the wedding, as the staff removed the plates and visitors socialized, Elizabeth approached my table. She appeared altered, more modest in some way. "You look good," she remarked hesitantly. "Thank you." I motioned to an unoccupied chair. Adrienne sat, fumbling with her purse. "That I secured employment. It is not extravagant, but it is a beginning. My parents are acclimating to their new circumstances. The place is suitable for them. They miss you." She made eye contact with me. "We all miss you, Elizabeth." "No." She retrieved her phone and displayed a link to me, prompting me to conclude my statement. "Online craft businesses differ significantly from your ventures, yet witnessing your success inspired me that I recognized that I could also attempt this." I examined her visage in search of deceit, but I am solely seeking sincerity, which I expressed with caution. I am not present for any other reason. She hastily requested financial assistance, stating, "I wanted you to know that you were correct. We treated you as a financial institution rather than as a person. Apologies." But before I could reply, Simone leaped over. "Tabitha in Singapore, investors seek expansion." "Apologies, I must depart." Elizabeth remained standing. "I should leave now, thank you for listening." As she departed, Simone raised an eyebrow, indicating familial discord, more akin to familial development. I approached her to inquire about Singapore as the evening concluded, although Caden insisted on one final visit to our preferred bar. When we took our customary booth, she pushed a folder across the table. "The table contains a partnership agreement with my name adjacent to it." She stated that you have outgrown your current status, and it is time to advance. Official Caden, I am uncertain on how to proceed. Please affirm and assist me in reviewing these startups. That we have 20 meetings scheduled for tomorrow. My phone just received a text from Elizabeth. My mother inquired about your website today. She wishes to observe your growth. I showed it to Caden, who found it amusing. The prodigal, the family uncovers Google's initial developments. I respond by advising her to consult Forbes' article regarding women transforming the technology sector. Observe your display of Caden. That I corrected them, revealing my true self, which they had never perceived. Simone's team entered the bar exuberantly, celebrating their award. We positioned chairs, ordered beverages, and exchanged aspirations while I observed these remarkable individuals, women who had become my true family, discussed their observations of Caden, indicating the window where a young woman was pacing, grasping a laptop. "Doesn't she resemble another emerging entrepreneur?" I inquired about regarding the laptop. Another individual I was acquainted with mustered the fortitude to transform her existence. I rose, declaring my presence. The woman startled when I opened the door. "I apologize, I was merely attempting to convey this. That I have a business proposal, and I read about you in Forbes. Please enter." I have held the door open. The primary principle of success is to avoid unsolicited proposals. Her eyes widened. That I firmly believe in the concept of paying it forward, as I indicated to our table. Successful ladies, and you are in esteemed company. As she starts sharing her with quivering anticipation, I sense the final components fall into alignment. That IT was never about vengeance. It was not even about achievement. It was about liberation, cycles of constructing connections and elevating people as you ascend. My phone vibrated once. During the previous occasion, Adrienne Elizabeth informed us that today, Father genuinely smiled while reading. "Regarding your awards ceremony, I may have left it incomplete. Perhaps it was intended for someone. Tomorrow night is designated for commemorating our progress and assisting another woman in taking her initial steps forward. Liberty constituted the ultimate form of retribution.